A $60,000 metal building in Fort Worth, Texas?
Let's walk through this 30 by 30 metal storage and show you what you can really get when you build with WolfSteel.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome back, Pack. It's Anadela and Andy here from WolfSteel Buildings, and we got a really cool building with a little bit of a different colors than what we've been seeing lately.
That's right, a sharp 30 by 30 metal building with a lean-to and some real standout features with awesome colors and a fully insulated building.
Correct, but before we jump into the pricing and the specs, guys, make sure to share this video with maybe someone who's interested in a metal building, has been maybe thinking about these colors because they are a little different. As always, like, share, and subscribe so that you guys don't miss any ideas for your metal buildings or education on things that you guys may need for your project.
Yes, all right, Pack, you know how we do it. Let's get through this walkthrough and break down everything for this project that has to offer.
Alrighty, Andy, biggest thing, maybe for a client who's going through the process, you mentioned this client came in here to visit you several times.
Yes.
I don't think it was necessarily to visit you, I'm sorry, but obviously to plan out the building. What was the process like for the client? How did they kind of come up with this design?
Yeah, so they saw us on, they Googled us first, and then they saw a couple videos on us on YouTube. They came in a couple times, like you mentioned. They did say that the main thing was to build a building for just for her truck only. And then as well as they kind of wanted to add a lean-to with a small storage to add a couple things to store some stuff. The color that we set on was so awesome. She did want to match her truck, so we did end up going with that blue that you're gonna see soon.
I thought she was a Cowboys fan. I thought when they looked at this, I was like, okay, some fellow Cowboys fans are trying to put it out there, but maybe not. Maybe it's just a truck. So we don't know what football team, NFL team they root for, but we do know what building style they went to.
Yes.
So let's go over a little bit about what was that building, the design that they did, and then of course how much that cost.
Okay. So the total cost comes out to $19,763.60. So that in price includes a 30 by 30, 12-foot tall tubular metal building with a 12 by 30 lean-to partially enclosed. That also includes the frame outs in the inside as well as on the outside of the lean-to. Usually when customers get lean-tos, it's always open frame. I know this client specifically asked for the whole panels to be closed, and then as well as some frame outs on there to give it that aesthetic look and kind of hide the framing work from the lean-to.
Yeah, and that's actually something clients can take away if they want to and have that exposed framing, which is very popular, still very, very something that we see very often, but it is an additional cost to add it on here, which was added on there. And then he did go with the vertical panels, which is an upgrade. Typically, we do horizontal or vertical. Horizontal is a standard, vertical would be something that's additional, but it does add structural rigidity, so it does give you the additional girts and of course verticals that go with it. I do want to talk about the colors. As I mentioned, I did think they were fellow Cowboys fans, but they weren't. Well, I don't know yet, but they went with that. We no longer offer royal blue though, right?
No, we don't offer royal blue. We offer a couple other colors. Our current color chart should be popping up right now, but I would recommend, and I will say my two favorite colors out of those color chart would be that burnished slate and that colony green. We do have a couple of those a couple colors on those buildings. I would recommend to check out on the links below.
Yeah, so we'll be having them pop up on there. I've been pushing you guys, and I think I asked you guys, I hear sometimes you're like, hey, Anadela, this customer is telling me that they want to get these color charts or these color samples sent out, and it's like the colors that I'm interested in. I really want a colony green and a black. I think those would look so nice. Amazing. But of course, I also do know that there is HOA restrictions and just trying to match your house. Completely understand on those kind of things. Going back to what is the main building and the lean-to, can we explain a little bit over the lean-to? Because you mentioned the panels is slightly different than what we typically see.
No, so the customer, he did get an 8 by 10 frame out on the internal, on the main structure to access his little small storage inside the lean-to. And then to make sure where there's no leg spacing or no base rail at the bottom, he did add those two 8 by 8 frame outs on there to give it, like I said, that aesthetic look with that panel, the extra panel on there.
And I think that's really important because sometimes customers, he added a lean-to, so you said, he mentioned you probably is not going to do a door in there, but sometimes customers just want that door that connects on there. So we'll have a couple of shots for you guys to see the difference between just having that lean-to and then having the door on there. But the client, because he did get a 12-foot leg, I would like to point out some standards that we do have here at WolfSteel Buildings. 12-foot leg is a single leg unit. Now there is upgrades in pricing difference if you go a little bit higher. 13 and 14 do have your double welded legs, and then anything higher than that, you are going into your ladder leg territory on those. So the client was mentioning is they wanted to protect her vehicle. Man, he's good. He's good. He got a whole building just to take care of her truck. I'm going to note that for my future husband. But biggest thing on there is taking care of that, which is really, really important. Investments like a car are one of the biggest things that sometimes clients come to us on protecting for like those detached garage looks. Client did get an insulated door, which is a 10 by 10 insulated overhead door that you added on there for the client, and then they had to get the opener so they could open it from the outside. Perfect for the insulation, which we're going to be talking about a little bit further on. And then still got more insulated accessories. A little bit about the doors.
Yeah, so she did get two 36 by 84 steel doors, insulated steel doors. One was on the lean-to and one was on the main building. And then she also did get a 36 by 36 double painted window, just for that natural lighting. That way, you know, it's not too dark in there. But also we do have a video versus a single pane versus a double painted window that Jared and Advil explained with the link below. So the total cost for the insulated doors and as well as the garage door and that window came out to $8,070.
Yeah, but that does give them all insulated accessories. So it gives them the insulated overhead door with the openers, which is not standard. The overhead doors do not come standard with the door openers, so that is an additional cost. Plus their double pane window, plus their 2 doors, which provides access to one part of the other, one or the other, on there. And then of course concrete. You can't start your building without a solid foundation, so very, very important on there. The price for the concrete that the client did get with us was $17,085. Andy, there's a lot of standards that we do for concrete. We're very big on not cutting corners, but pouring them. So can you go over a little bit about what a client should expect with getting concrete with WolfSteel
for sure. So the main slab of the building was a 30 by 30, 3 inches all the way around with that notch detail edge. It's giving that extra clearance to help with the notch detail as well. They also did the internal footings, which were 12 by 18 by 24. The reason why we did 24 as well is because it was sitting on a hill, so we did need to go a little bit deeper on that instead of just doing straight 18 inches on there. We had to go to 24.
Yeah.
So it did include as well as that 6mm vapor barrier as well, which with a 8 to 12 control joints to reduce the cracking.
Yeah, so very, very important on there that the building is really strong, but the lean-to is also needs to sit on a solid foundation. So we don't cut corners with the lean-to either. So the lean-to is a 12 by 30. So that is added onto the slab. So we do have the 12 by 30 that is added to that 30 by 30. And then we always have rebar. That's something that we never sacrifice anything on there. And there is the control joints as well. One thing that we don't add onto lean-tos typically is the vapor barrier. But I would like to point out, Andy, that we do have a new product coming out pretty soon when it comes to our concrete and foundations, where we talk about the importance of that vapor barrier. So it might be something that we will be talking a little bit more, so make sure that you stick around to either more videos or staying tuned to our website on there.
Also did want to mention too that she was planning to park her truck in there, the reason why they were getting that building. So we did make sure, you know, with those perimeter footings, internal footings, as well as we definitely reinforced the main structure to make sure it holds that heavy support of the truck.
Biggest things that we also offer that makes us different from the industry, Andy, is those additional things. Concrete is not typically added onto buildings. It's something that we do, but another big ones are the gutter systems and the insulation. Going on with the insulation on this one, I think the client did go with a 1-inch spray foam all around the building, roof and walls. But they went with the ice gray. So that is something that we do talk about in a new video about the difference on like the pricing on that. I think it looks really good on this building. We should be seeing B-rolls. Biggest thing is it doesn't make it seem like closed in and like kind of unpopular opinion. Right now when we were talking about it, you were saying you don't like the yellow. I think it doesn't look bad. What I actually am not too big of a fan of is the black, because I feel like that makes it feel really closed out, right? And so, for example, this building is being used as a detached garage. The gray, we should be seeing it now in some interior pictures. I think it opens up the space a lot.
And that was the main reason why they went with ice gray as well. I know we spoke about doing it black too, because they weren't too fan of the yellow color that was standard. So
did you influence that?
I might have a little bit. But I did try to go with the black spray foam, but they did mention to me that the black spray foam felt like it was going to be too dark inside the building. So they ended up going with that nice ice gray color.
Yeah, definitely made a difference. And then, of course, the foam gap enclosures are required.
So the foam gap enclosures are required, especially if you're planning to spray foam the building, because we don't want that oozing coming out in the corners of the building. So that does help completely seal tight the whole building itself. They also went with the gutters and downspouts. The colors were they wanted to match the trim, so they went with the white colors and gutters and downspouts, and then well as at the very bottom that base trim. So they also wanted to match the panels as well. So we went with the color that we don't offer anymore, that royal blue, to match the panels.
Yeah, so the total for all of this came out to $14,137. Again, that is the 1-inch spray foam with the upgraded color, because that is an upgraded color for the ice gray. That's an additional cost. And then, of course, the gutters and downspouts. So for everything that we've been mentioning, Andy, what is the client looking at for a full turnkey cost?
Yeah, so the turnkey came out to $59,055.60, which included the main building, the lean-to, the insulation, the gutter system, the doors and windows, concrete, labor, taxes. Everything that we mentioned before was $59,055.60.
We would like to point out pricing does vary depending on your location. We always like to mention that, and pricing is valid for 5 days after the posting of this video. Biggest reason we like to say pricing can vary is, say the client is in a high wind area or anything of that sort. Maybe additional materials will need to be added. So maybe the $55,000 will range slightly over or even slightly less. Those are things that also to take into consideration, because maybe they don't need the concrete with the deeper footer, so now that cuts cost on your concrete. So biggest thing is always, what is the building being used for? I think you guys asked that. It's on clockwork. Ernie has you guys like this. Making sure that we're figuring out what the client needs, because you guys can find ways to help a client save. So how can a client maybe looking at this type of detached garage save money?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing that we look at, of course, like Anela mentioned, what are you using this building for? So we were able to, for this building, we could save it on going from 12 gauge to 14 gauge. That does save a lot on costs on there. Now, we'll want to say, just by going from 12 gauge to 14 gauge, a lot of our customers think like, oh, is the building going to be weaker? It's not. It actually, it's going to be still strong, especially if you're getting that spray foam too. It does make that building stronger. Another one is vertical panels, going from vertical to horizontal. That does help a lot. That does help save the cost on that. That's not too much of an extra material that we need to go for the horizontal ones.
Now, the cost that they're looking at though, so if they were to make that change.
So you're looking rough ballpark, $51,436.80, which is about $7,600 on savings from the original building that we mentioned to go into the horizontal and the 12 gauge.
I know when we were kind of going over this, Andy, so it's, again, we're not actors. We always have to practice and look at this. You mentioned roll-up doors. So I want to make sure that clients get that insights of like, what would you recommend maybe a client looking at roll-up doors?
No, of course. So again, that question, that's the main question. What are you planning to use that building for? So if they don't really need, if they're not planning to, be in that building or a workshop or anything, just more like storage, we always recommend to do the roll-up doors. You still kind of get the insulation feel with the insulated, not as much compared to the garage doors. But that's another way you can save on some costs going from the garage doors to the roll-up doors.
And actually right now, I just thought of one, it's the color on the spray foam. The any time that you upgrade from, I'm sorry, I know you don't like the yellow.
You're good.
And I keep talking to you about it, but upgrading the color is an additional, because once the building's been spray foamed, we have to go back, typically the next day, and we have to paint because it's painted over. It's not something that's added to the mix. So additional color means additional cost. Those are also things on there.
That's one thing as well. That additional color. We do get some clients that are trying to save on costs. They do that and they end up kind of covering it, you know, where if they put some type of, you know, material to kind of cover it, their tools or something, that you won't be able to see that yellow. So that's another way you can save on some costs.
Another thing is if a client is getting spray foam, one of the benefits of spray foam is like, one, they could come back and paint it later.
Yes.
That's something that can be done. Or you can come back and spray foam it later.
Yeah.
I think they just have to notify you guys. Still really important to notify it, you guys in sales, that they want to spray foam, so that we still add in those foam gap enclosures for whenever you're ready. It does get a little tedious because you have to move things around and you have to center it and it has to block off, but definitely something that can save you quite a bit at the initial cost, and then later on you add that additional expense.
Yes,
so.
ma'am.
Pack, so as we wrap up this video, I hope that you guys got ideas on a little bit about what WolfSteel Buildings does.
No, definitely. Yeah. If you guys have any questions or actually want to get something like this, again, reach out to me and Charlene. I'm more than happy to help out. If you have no idea where to start, that's one thing we can definitely help out as much as well. Don't be afraid. We have a lot of our clients that they don't know where to start, and we get the finished product for them.
Yeah. So biggest thing on there, we can get you, if you're needing a detached garage. I know that some of your projects range from garages like a client who's needing to protect their investment to something on the commercial side or things of that sort. So definitely things that you guys can reach out to us here at WolfSteel Buildings. Andy, actually my question to you before we sign off is, what was your favorite feature of this building? Because every building is different.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I will say, you'll probably make fun of me, but it's that ice gray. The ice gray gave it that finishing touch inside. You know, it's nice, beautiful. Like I mentioned, it does bring out the inside. It does make it a little bit brighter.
Opens it up.
Of course. And then also, I would also mention that the panels on the lean-to, that extra panels on the lean-to, gives it that finishing touch as well. More of a homey, not you know,
residential.
Exactly. More instead of like just your normal building, it does give it that residential look.
Yep, I would agree. I would agree with the second part. I mean, I still like the ice gray. I'm not saying it's not, but it's just I always hear you guys like, y'all like the new colors. Once we started offering it, definitely gives it a different look. But we'd love to hear from you guys. So comment down below, what was the different types features that you liked that are maybe different in this one, or just something that stood out for you. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can stay tuned to all of our new videos, new products, and everything that we're doing here at WolfSteel Buildings. We'll see you guys in the next one.
What's up, Pack? Remember to stay up to date with everything that we're up to by checking out our social media. You can find us at WolfSteel Buildings for behind the scenes action. We share our latest projects, update on what the team is working on, and all the exciting progress happening in real time. Don't miss out on the action, and remember to give us a follow.